Alright, Schlockmeister fans, we're going to watch the first of two of the Curse movies. Curse 1 or just Curse. Let's check it out. Our movie starts with an arrest. A guy screaming about the water. Will Wheaton stars as Zach. His stepbrother just pushed him into a pile of horse shit.
You dumb son of a bitch.
Claude Akins is his stepdad. And Cyrus's father.
And you're not my father.
He's a little slappy too.
Don't you go being disrespectful.
Zach's mom.
Look, I know he's not like your father was. But he's a good man, Zach.
Now Nathan may be a good man, like she said, but he doesn't cater to his wife's sexual needs, so she looks for those needs to get satisfied elsewhere. Well, what looks like a giant ball of twine is about to crash on their property. They call that a meteorite. Of course, it happens to crash just at the time that his wife was out with the other dude. So she's kind of busted at this point, but, you know, it's your own damn fault, Nathan. So they go check it out, of course, everybody around.
I saw it glowing last night from my window. Last night, it was glowing. And the trees were moving, but there wasn't any wind.
Over the next day or so, the meteorite just kind of dissolves and melts and oozes whatever it is into the ground.
I just went by.
Now the neighbor thinks it was actually dropped from an airplane. It was their waste.
Holding tanks? Airplane doo-doo?
Well, the next thing the movie does is show us a lot of things involving water. Animals drinking water. Water, water, water. Clearly we know whatever that thing was, it melted into the water. Now when Mom gets some fresh vegetables, which obviously were nourished by that same groundwater. Notice the thing on her face too. Everything is nasty now. Same thing with the tomatoes. Mr. Forbes, the neighbor, and his wife, he thinks something's wrong with the water, but his wife doesn't want him messing around with it.
Go around fixing things that ain't broke.
Well, the horses are drinking the water too, and they're starting to go crazy, getting a little violent. This guy works, or he's a local councilman. He wants them to sell their property so they can build a condo or something.
Just do a little honest speculating.
And he bites into an apple and discovers and then the chickens are going crazy, attacking Zach's little sister. They'll rescue her. Mama's starting to really go crazy. Not only is those growths on her face growing, but she's now sewing a mitten to her own hand. That ain't normal. Doc Forbes comes by. He went and grabbed him. But they're basically covering. Nothing's wrong with her.
Zachary just overreacted a bit. Francis just been feeling a little under the weather.
This is Mr. Willett. He wandered into their house because, well, he thought they were home, and you might recognize that as John Schneider from the Dukes of Hazzard. He works for like the local TVA. They're kind of seeing if they can build a new reservoir in the area. Everybody who's ingesting this water is getting sick. Zach knows something's up with the water, so he's been taking water from the neighbor's house. Mom is really losing her shit now. Nathan locks her in the cellar, and when Zach goes to check on her later. The doctor put a water sample to these people to check it out.
Whatever it is, it's very unstable. It's actually altering the molecular structure of the water.
The doctor's wife is mauled by dogs. City councilman, well, he's probably next. He decided to hide in the cellar, not knowing that Mom was down there. Nathan's not doing too good now either.
Your mother, that foreign bitch. We were good enough for you when you needed us.
It's making you sick. Can't you see that?
I believe this is Dr. Forbes, who wandered next door, became Nathan's next victim. And just before he was about to get killed, John Schneider saves him. Bo Duke to the rescue. The house is starting to collapse now. They go back in to grab Alice, his little sister. Cyrus tries to stop them and he falls. Or whatever Cyrus has become. Zach goes back to rescue his mom, but his mom is way too far gone by this point. In fact, she's literally gone. She's melting into the floor.
To ensure that there were no further traces of the contaminating element.
This is a few months later.
The situation was and remains fully under control, and I assure you that there is no danger of a further outbreak.
Our film ends with a shot of the local landscape, and clearly something is happening in the ground, and that ooze is apparently going to be everywhere soon. All right, let's talk about this movie, The Curse. Had this on a VHS tape years ago, EP speed with 3 other movies. Couldn't tell you what they were. Actually, I think I can tell you. One of them was Pulse, the movie Pulse. I'd seen this movie, I think, once, maybe twice at the most, but at least once. I didn't remember a damn thing about it. I couldn't remember that Will Wheaton was in it. I knew nothing. Claude Akins is in this movie as well. But anyway, what we have here is Will Wheaton lives with his mother and stepfather, stepbrother. They live on this farm somewhere. Mom has remarried, and Claude Akins is the stepfather, and he's not all that nice. He's a little bit hitty, slappy with the kid. And he's got this older stepbrother too, who's a dick. But anyway, they live on this farm, and one night this meteorite crashes on their farmland. It's this big glowing ball, and nobody really does anything about it, but eventually the thing just kind of disappears, but apparently it like exploded and kind of seeped. It was like all liquidy, melted and seeped into the ground. So it's now infecting all the groundwater on their property. And when they eat some vegetables that have this, or first of all, the animals who drink this, the horses, the dogs, they go a little bit crazy. The food that they eat that was nourished from the water there is full of bugs, and it tastes weird and everything. Next thing you know, Mom is getting infected, and she's like hurting herself. She's like sewing, and she's like sewing this thing to her hand, and she's got these sores and bubbly things on her face. She's a mess. Zach, who's Will Wheaton, he's the star of this movie, he kind of figures that something ain't right. So he's not drinking the water anymore. He's horking some water from next door at this doctor's house. Ultimately, there's a few people who come by the house. Like there's this company called the TVA, the Tennessee Valley Authority, who are looking to like build a new dam nearby. The doctor next door, I think his name is Mr. Forbes. he knows something's wrong. He takes a water sample and turns it in, and they detect something's really messed up there. They can't even tell what's in the water. But ultimately, Zach's family is turning into like monsters and stuff, and they're just getting violent and everything. Eventually, this guy, Mr. Willett, who I think he was one of the guys who was looking in from the Tennessee Valley Authority. He comes to the house near the end of this movie. Somehow the house is like falling apart. I don't know if the water in the ground is causing it, but whatever. There's kind of like a final battle in the house where he has to battle a stepfather and the brother, and he rescues his little sister, who, by the way, is played by his real life little sister. Amy Wheaton, I think was her name. She played Alice in the movie, and they rescue him, or I'm sorry, they rescue her. They get out of the house. He goes back in to try to rescue his mom, but his mom by this time has turned into this weird grayish monster thing, and then he sees as she kind of melts into the floor. She's done. So anyway, we fast forward like 6 months later, and the guy Mr. Willett, who rescued the Wheatons, is in the hospital. He's all wrapped up. He ain't quite right. He's seeing some sort of report on television about how everything's fine now, everything's out of danger, blah, blah, blah. But then the last scene in the movie, we see like the ground start to split, like an earthquake or something, all around this area, and there's bubbling water and everything. And it looks like the ooze, it's going to be everywhere, and who knows what the hell's going to happen next, but it's probably not going to be good. Maybe that's why they made a Curse 2, 3, and 4. Actually, it's not, because Curse 2, 3, and 4 have literally nothing to do with this movie from what I read. But we'll find out soon, because we're going to watch Curse 2 probably in the next few days or so. But anyway, that is Curse, or The Curse, I should say. I was going to say, there's no nudity in this movie, but yes, there is. There's a bare butt by the older stepbrother. This movie was directed by, I always get it mixed up, Keith David or David Keith. The one who was in Lords of Discipline, the white one, and Jesus, can't even read the back of the box. The print is so small, or I'm just getting old. I don't know, but whatever the case is, I think it was David Keith. And this was his directorial debut. In fact, he co-starred with the stepbrother in Lords of Discipline. So anyway, yeah, it's an okay movie. It's just a typical 80s horror movie. There's a fair amount of blood and grossness. No nudity other than that kid's butt. But it was fairly entertaining. I enjoyed it. Apparently, this was filmed on the director's farm, or his property in Tennessee, and then they filmed a little bit in Rome for the interiors, I guess. I don't know why he would have spent that money to do it, but whatever. Apparently, Will Wheaton is on record saying this is one of the worst films he's ever done, and the only thing worthwhile about it was that his sister got work. But he only apparently did it because they threw a lot of money at him, and he got a free trip to Rome out of it. So there you go. That is The Curse. So anyway, it's available on this DVD with The Curse, or Curse 2, The Bite. I don't know if it's available on Blu-ray or not, but I think the DVD is well enough for you. You can get this double DVD here for probably about $12 or so, and it's worth it. So check it out. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think about it. It's The Curse. Watch it. Bye.